Hello, hello. My name is Temitope Olodo. I'm a preventive terrorism consultant, author, and president of African Security Forum. And today we have a very, very exciting discussion. We're going to be talking about conflict. Conflicts. There are different conflicts that have happened across Africa and even in Nigeria. I was a witness to at least conflict in two parts of Nigeria actually. One, the Ife Modekeke conflict, and also a conflict that involved the removal of a monarch in the north. And luckily, it was the people that were not happy with what was happening, and as a result, it wasn't a conflict between ethnic groups because Nigeria had been unfortunately Nigeria found itself unfortunately in a situation where conflict of this nature, where there is a conflict between one ethnic group or the other, result in a lot of bloodshed. But the Ife one was quite unique in the sense that here I was, I was on holiday to Nigeria from the UK, and I found myself in that situation. And it was really bad. I need to you need to understand how bad it was. It was really, really bad. I lost a lot of people that I knew, who I knew in the community. People were going into people's house to bring them out, and beat them up. And I remember my mom of blessed memory actually coming out to save one of the people in the neighborhood and say, no, we're not going to allow this on our street. No, you're not going to do it because they was ready to do jungle justice. They were burning people's houses. People have fled their homes. And so when people start beating the drum of war, they need to understand the impact of such atrocity where they happen. We are all witnesses, even if some of us might not be alive. I know I was alive, but some people that are listening to me right now might not be alive when the Rwanda incident happened. We know that thousands of people lost their life as a result. And the question now that we ask is, can we in Nigeria, survive such if there is a civil war? We know that the uh, the Marriott Wale Soyinka talked about the fact that we are moving towards the brink of war. And when you look at the tension in the land, you know that we are really at the edge, at the verge. And because we're at the edge, this is the time when good people of good conscience need to come out and start speaking truth to power and start saying we need to stop this, we need to get things right. Because look, listen, I'm in the UK, yes, my extended families are back home, and if they're in their own community, except it's a proper war where they are. So if you live in a place like Ife, or if you live, is only if you know you are going, the other parties that are involved in the conflict have, you know, what they call it, planes or whatever to come and bomb. But if there is no plane, they're just going to recruit your young ones to go and fight in the war front or to protect their neighborhood. So you won't see war in the sense of war like that, but you will hear the drum of war and it will be serious. So what uh, I'm talking about is the fact that a lot of things get destroyed because there's a lot of Nigerians on both sides, both in the north, in the south, and in the east. In the southwest, the southeast, the south, and a lot of them have Nigerians have mixed for over 100 years, married into each other. And this is not the time for us to be beating the drums of war. There must be a way we can resolve the challenge that we are going through. So I am here to talk about how to avoid conflict. And one of the things I want to talk about is what more or less breeds this conflict. You know, I know this is not the kind of thing people want to hear. Some people just want us to talk about, we are living, we are doing this. And there's nothing wrong in saying that you want to live. You know, if it's a marriage of convenience and you are not happy, there must be a way that you could both come to the table, you know, to the dining table and have a discussion about your grievances without shedding blood. The bottom line remains that there are those that are advocating, there are three groups now as we speak about Nigeria. Now, if you are watching me right now, you can like this page, you can share this page, and you can tell your friends that Temitope Olodo is live talking about, you know, security in Nigeria and in Africa. And I'll use Nigeria as an example because Nigeria is a place that I know, is a place I'm familiar with, and it's a place where, as we speak right now, you know, there is tension in the land, serious tension in the land in Nigeria as we speak. And the question now that we need to ask is, how do we avoid this conflict? How do we avoid, you know, this where we found ourselves? We need to be able to avoid it, and that is exactly what I want to talk about today. Now, the issue here is very simple. It's a very simple issue. There are three groups that exist at the moment as we speak. There are those that are the separatists, and we're going to talk about them. There are those that are calling for us to revert back to the 1963 constitution that we had before the military intervention, and then the 1999 constitution that we are presently uh, operating under, the constitution that says we the people of Nigeria. Of course, from lessons and as a student of politics, I know that it's only an handful of military personnel that actually came together to put together that constitution. And a lot of people have said that that constitution has a lot of things in it that makes it unworkable for the Nigerian people as we are right now. Very, very unworkable. It does not allow for an independent growth that uh, we've always enjoyed. It has not allowed us to have that, and that is the issue that we need. That is the issue that we need to look at right now. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, how can we be able to create a situation where we will not get into war? Because Wole Soyinka, Afenifere, the IPOD, they're all talking about the fact that if this issue is not arrested, there's going to be serious conflict, and that conflict could result in civil war. And my question is, do we really need to go to war? No, we don't. We do not need to go to war. And we need to talk about these three groups and identify a way to resolve this issue in an amicable way. You know, if indeed it's a marriage of convenience that many people believe it is, then there must be a way that we could resolve it without it becoming messy. We must be able to do that, and that is the discussion we're going to have today. And if you're watching me right now, I want you to like this page, I want you to share this page, and I want you to more or less let me know your thoughts. You know, tell me where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? Are you watching from New York? Are you watching from London? Are you watching from Nigeria? Are you watching, you know, from Kenya? Let me know where you're watching from so that I can acknowledge you. And if you have any question, drop it in the box right now and we'll talk about it. So let's go back to what has uh, led to the drums of war and the echo of war that is happening right now. Now, unfortunately, Nigerian border is porous. We have about 1,000 plus of back roads that people could use to get into Nigeria at any given time. And that is a problem. The fact that we have a border that is so porous that anybody can come in and anybody can go out is a problem in itself. We also have another problem, which is the conflict in the Sahel area. The Sahel area. You know, we're talking about Mali. We are talking about Mali. We are talking about Libya. And as we're talking about Libya and talking about Mali, you know, we have a situation where weapons are coming in from those areas into Nigeria and helping to foil the current crisis in northeast Nigeria and also in southwest, in northwest, north central, you know, and even the middle belt. Because now we have what we call the killer herdsmen who have taken advantage of our security, the lapse security that we have, who have taken advantage of the ineffectiveness of our security apparatus, who are taking advantage of our lack of unity to penetrate our land, kill our people, you know, kill our people and ransack our land. And it's been happening, you know, in different areas of Nigeria. And people were saying, you know what, enough is enough. We don't want this. So in the Southwest, for example, a gentleman called Sunday Igboho stood up and he became the Robin Hood of the Yoruba people who are Southwest Nigeria. And he's saying enough is enough. You can't be killing my brothers and my sisters, you know, and that has created a challenge because now a lot of good people, reasonable people are saying, yes, he has a point. He has a point. There's a lot of killing that has happened, and because of the vacuum in leadership, because of the broken leadership that we have, because of the lack of proactive approach to crime and criminality, you know, this individual stood up and said, I'm going to be the Robin Hood of my people, and I'm going to, I'm going to save my people from the hands of the killer headsmen that are destroying the farmlands, raping our women, and killing our brothers on the farmland and kidnapping them on the road. Kidnapping in Nigeria has got to a stage where even tenants are kidnapping their landlords to be able to use the money from the proceeds to pay their rent. It has got to a point where little kids are kidnapping other little kids in order to get money to buy trainers, to buy things. Kidnapping has got to a point where even wives are setting themselves up to be kidnapped so they could get money from their husband. Hey, that is how bad kidnapping is in Nigeria. So when you have a situation where lawlessness is the order of the day, a situation where bandits, we're talking of bandits, are making demand of the federal government of Nigeria that if you do not pay us money, if you do not pay us salary, we are going to be ransacking your people. And yet, the government is impotent to actually deal with the issue. Then we have a problem in our hands. That is the discussion we're having right now. If you are watching me right now, please like this page, share this page, and tell our people that Temitope Olodo is live. I'm going to be explaining the differences between mercenaries, bandits, kidnappers, and terrorists. Now, a certain cleric had decided to take it upon himself, just like Mr. Igboho in the Southwest. A certain cleric in the North Central, Northwest, are taking it upon himself to now go and negotiate with the bandits, to beg the bandits. And his assertion is that, number one, it is an insurgency. Number two, that if Nigerian government under Yaradua, Obasanjo, Goodluck Jonathan, and even our present President Muhammad Buhari, can pay the Niger Delta people, militants in the South, then he sees no reason why the bandits in the North cannot be given amnesty. Now, let us be very, very clear on this matter. And I want a situation where, if you're watching me right now, I want you to make your views, make your comment known, share this matter, because I am talking to the 200 plus Nigerians, in Nigeria and around the world watching me right now. There is a big difference between insurgency, freedom fighters, agitators for their homeland, and also what you call bandits. Big difference. Big difference. And I'll explain why. When the Niger Delta people started, we all know that we could say without any hesitation that 90% of our oil reserve is coming from that region. But if you go to that region now, even if you are not from that region, you will shed tears for the people of that region. You will shed tears for the people of that region as a Nigerian. If you are somebody with flesh and blood, you will shed tears for those people because they can't fish. They are not living since 1960, when we have had independence. Some of them are still living in huts. When we have countries like Sweden saving money for their people, saving money from oil from their crude oil for their people. In Nigeria, we cannot even show the outcome of our money. It has been siphoned by a little group of people. And people in this region say, you know what? This oil is coming from us. And yet, we are not getting anything out of it. And that was what started the origin of kidnapping, because they started kidnapping foreigners and people of interest that are coming into that region and demanding money. They don't kidnap their own people. They don't kill their own people. And what they do is that they blow up the area. It's not like Boko Haram, who goes into a field in Northeast and slaughter 43 plus people. That is demonic. Whatever name you want to call it, that is demonic. If you are watching me right now, I want you to like this page. I want you to share this page. And I want you to let our people know that I, Temitope Olodo, preventive terrorism expert, author, and president of African Security Forum, is giving an analysis of the situation on civil war and communal clash in Nigeria. And I want us to have a discussion about it and how to move Nigeria forward. So, the Niger Delta people came out, the militants came out of an agitation to correct the wrong that they have suffered for decades as an area that produced oil for the Commonwealth of Nigeria, the nation called Nigeria, created in 1940 as a result of the amalgamation of the North and the South, and that got its independence in 1960. So these people started an agitation and they started to blow up our pipelines. And the bottom line is, as they blow up our pipeline, we had a serious problem. The problem we have is that our oil revenue started to go down. I am being joined now by Mr. Ebrima Chongan, a very good friend of many years. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. How are you today?
I'm fine, Timmy. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you very much for joining us. And please, for my viewers that do not know who you are, please tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, I'm a
Tell them about
Gambian.
yourself.
I'm a Gambian, a former police chief of the Gambia, and I've been working in the British Civil Service now for 20 years. I know Temi through the civil service. They cease to exist as representative democracy. Both. Hello.
Good. Okay, Mr. Ibrahima, please, we're talking about conflicts in Africa, and I remember reading your book, The Price of Duty. And I will encourage anybody that is watching me right now to go and get that book. It's a book, it's one of the only book I've read, apart from my Bible, that I could not drop when I started reading it, because it's full of information. Please help me tell our viewers about that fateful day where you went to work and the coup d'etat started in the Gambia. Can you help me tell our people about that incident that happened in the Gambia? Because it's a conflict, it's a riot that started and people got caught away. You got caught away, and many people who are not trained like you, because many people will not know that you were a colonel and you were a former assistant inspector general of police. Many people will jump, many people will run, but you stood still and tried to defend democracy in the Gambia. So please tell our people a little bit about that incident that happened, that that ushered in the former president of the Gambia.
Yeah, Jabe. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite sure your
Yes.
Nigerian audience. I'm quite sure your Nigerian audiences will know a lot cool more than me. Anyway, I just went to work on the 22nd of July. I was the Assistant Inspector General then. And Gambia, our capital, is an island, a small island that have a bridge that connects the island to the rest of the Gambia. So I went to work at 7 o'clock and we're there, and they say the soldiers are mutinying from the main barracks, just like if you are in Nigeria. There's mutiny at Donon Barracks. So we call it Yundum Barracks. And they're moving, they've seized vehicles and they're coming. And I deployed policemen and we stopped them for a couple of hours. I engaged them, want to fight them. Now I shudder because I was too young. I'm not sure I will do it now because I think I was committing suicide. The whole army advancing and I'm fighting them. And the rest is history. You know, I was locked up for 2.5 years, on Kirikiri, which is called Mile 2 prison. And I went through mock executions. I'm just lucky to be alive. And then afterwards, I came to exile. So, in a nutshell, it's a long story, step by step. But I think that will give an idea to your audiences.
Yes, it's for anyone, and I'm saying it again. Please just Google his name, go and get a copy of the book. I'm telling you, if you've never read any book to do with military coup, that is a book I will recommend to you. Believe me, it is interesting. Let me bring in Professor Ali Alao in.
And
Prof,
also, tell me,
good evening.
Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, before I forget, I forgot to
Yes,
mention
go on, sir.
one important aspect, because our president brought in the Nigerian Army, which was called NATAC, Nigerian Army Training Assistant Group. There was a colonel called Abubakar Dada, and they were there. But our president, who was a Democrat, Sadauda Jawara, made a big mistake of getting the masters of coup d'etat to train and command his army. And then afterwards, there's a problem of change of command. Lawan Gwadebe was supposed to take over, and Dada refused. Onobi and all of this being Takai, Maman, all of this became generals in Nigeria. So I think that's important also to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is important, and those masters of coup d'etat who were who were trained by the British. But you guys were trained by the French. So maybe the French don't do all those the French don't teach you about how to. So let me bring we're going to go in because you and me we're going to discuss about conflicts and how to manage conflict in Africa. But let me bring in Prof because I want to Prof about uh, 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 Professor Wole Soyinka, who said recently that there might be a civil war in Nigeria if we are not careful about the way we beat the drums of war. And this is a man that is known, to be apolitical. He doesn't talk about politics. He's always talking about the truth. And many Nigerians resonate with what he said. There's a lot of conflict in Nigeria right now. What is your view about the issues that is brewing in Nigeria, and what will be your solution in 5 minutes about how to move things forward? Then I'll bring back our retired Colonel Ebrima Chongan. Go ahead, Prof.
Um, Good evening, our moderator, Comrade Temitope Olodo. And good evening once again, Colonel. It's good to have you on the program. Yes, to go straight to the point, I mean, a lot is going on in Nigeria as we speak, uh, vis-a-vis what is happening in the southeastern part with the IPOP, I mean, propagandas, and that of southwest of recent banditry, kidnapping, raping, just to name few. So as well, up north we're having also the same incident due to our porous border. We've been having some of these so-called Fulani herdsmen, to call them by their names with no coloration. These are criminals infiltrating into our border and coming to cause mayhem. And yeah, as you said, from Nigerian countries, we've been hearing this. It's nothing new, basically. I mean, from the intelligence that was revealed, I guess almost about 3 months now, whereby I guess from NSC or DSS saying they could feel they're sensing something, the intel telling them that some people are trying to stoke problem in Nigeria, civil war. Bear in mind, I mean, it to be a serious disaster, a colossal disaster, if that should happen in Nigeria. Nigerian cannot, no country can afford to have a civil war twice. And must I say, without making reference to anyone, because most of these people, whether be political or security analysts, that can really pinpoint beating the drums of war, you just need to take. It doesn't this bad in the recent time in Rwanda, as we heard, between the Tutsi and the Hutu of this Rwanda. It was a serious genocide. More so, I would like to make reference to that of Sudan, when they've been having the Southern Sudan after so many years of their, you know, protest and agitating for self-independence, where we come, which they end up realizing a few years later, only for them to turn gun against themselves. They are still in it up to now, despite the fact that these are the same very people that said they want to break away. But after breaking away, what happened? They are now turning gun against themselves. As the world can see, they haven't really see anything tangible that we can say is close to peace. So again, back to very Nigeria, it's very complex. I mean, we all need to sit down and calm down. I mean, and look at it. How did we get here? I could remember Mr. President says once upon a time, like a few years back, where he says the Nigeria we fail to appreciate is a jealous of most of our neighbors, be it from Africa, even beyond. There's nowhere you put Nigeria that Nigeria doesn't strive. One thing also as well I would like to remind us when they say, oh, because we are not the same people. If we just put Nigeria next to United States of America, I mean, it's a group of different ethnic race, and some from Asia, some from, apart from the Aborigine, the real American themselves. Okay, they fought a civil war, but that was then. But today, they all speak one language, which is we are all American. Here we are in Nigeria, by and large, there's something that unites us. Even before Nigeria came into being, we've been having like intermarriage, cultural exchange, commerce, and so on and so forth. So how come in the 21st century, whereby we cannot live together and see our differences as advantage and disadvantage? So I would like to tell our audience, basically most of our people back home, to kind of saying, look, there is nowhere we can call home than that very place called Nigeria, the land of genius, the land of someone also as well, Professor Wole Soyinka, Chino Achebe, and some other Nigerians that strive outside, beyond the gate, beyond the border of Nigeria. So in a way, I would say we should all look back and look at all those good old days. Forget our difference, not by the not by at the ball at the by the ballot, but not by the bullet. So by the polling booth, not by not by the aims of the bullet, or by you know trying to run each other over. So I believe I would like to advise us that we should all look at
Okay.
those things that
Let
unite us
me let
and
me
forget
use
about those things
let
that
me let me
divide us.
use okay. No, Prof. Prof, let me ask you two questions. Two questions, and I want you to be to take them sharp, sharp, sharp for me. Two questions. The one of the challenge we have at the moment is the people that are agitating for a 1963 constitution. There are those that are agitating for a 1999 constitution, and there are those that are the separatists like the IPOD, the Biafrans, and the Oodua nation. If you have a choice, will you recommend that Nigerians should explore the route of having a referendum so that the 200 million plus Nigerians can have a say in the constitution, which will be their own constitution? Yes or no?
Thank you for that beautiful question. My own take in all this, both of us, you and I, we are sitting somewhere there in United Kingdom. United Kingdom comprises about four nations: England, Scotland, Wales, and what? Republic of Ireland. These are different people. Their language is different. The culture is different. But they managed to form a sort of arrangement. Maybe a few years ago, if you remember, they have the referendum. They should be they've been agitating for this for quite some time. After the referendum, they discovered instead of just slogans, "Oh, we want to separate, we want to go on our own." Why don't we? That would be a good way forward. Instead of beating the drums of the war, I believe we as civilized people, we should try to act, and again, under the ambit of democracy, I believe we should
Okay.
look inwardly. We should take the at least the say
Okay.
of the lower hanging fruit, which is referendum. By having
Fruit.
this
Yeah.
referendum, I believe is the
Okay.
way forward. It will streamline the process. Let the both young and old, rich and poor, let them decide for the future of Nigeria by approaching and embracing
Okay.
this option of referendum
Okay.
is a way forward. Thank you.
Okay. Before I let you go and bring in retired Colonel Ebrima Chongan in 2 minutes, I want you to look into the camera, because I know you're a very important man and you got a lot of meetings that is going on, and I thank you for sparing us this time. I want you to look into the camera and tell our people, if you have one word of advice to Nigerians right now, you know, home and abroad, will you be encouraging them to start advocating for a Nigerian referendum rather than looking at setting and living or destroying Nigeria? In 1 minute, before I bring in uh, uh, Colonel, Colonel, go ahead.
Thank you very much for this, giving me this opportunity to say the last in 1 minute, though that won't do justice in 1 minute. One thing I would like to say, I find myself very fortunate enough to be born and bred in Nigeria, although I've been away for over 30 years. Everywhere I go, in the midst of other people from all over the world, without even saying where I came from. They don't ask me if I'm Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba or Shekiri. They say you're an African and you are a Nigerian. That enough for me is a badge of honor. So in a way, I don't know what it's going to look like. Here we are in United Kingdom. We've seen lots of our fellow Africans from Libya. Libya is gone. Somalia is gone. So as well some other countries. So we should all cool down and calm down and think back again. We are jealous of the rest of the continent Africa. We shouldn't let this our child leave us. No matter what it is, we need to embrace and rethink again and again and again. We have a lot at stake. We have no any other nation we can call ours, apart from that very country called Nigeria. All I will say to us is, no matter what our differences is, we can sort it out. But we need to sit down at the negotiating table, which is the beginning. For a start, it should. I mean, to start with, let's look towards that option of referendum. With referendum, I believe is going to be a way forward. We have no other place we can call ours than Nigeria. And I pray, God willing, 10 years down the line, when we look back, we can say, oh, well, we never knew we're going to get here, but now we made it. So that's the piece I can give.
Thank you so much.
Thank our people in back home and in diaspora. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And once again, I salute you.
Okay, Colonel is hearing you. Let me go to the Colonel and let me ask him. Colonel, you've had an opportunity of training a lot of troops. Many people might not know, but the former president of Gambia was one of your boys. You trained him, and not only that, but you also have been involved in training, even in Europe, ensuring building the police structure. And I want this question to be generic so that it applies to any African country. Why is it that African police are not as strong as the ones you have in the UK or you have in other European countries? Why is it that the military have to be brought in at any point? Because you were a former Assistant Inspector General of Police. So if there's anybody that is in a position to provide a kind of an insight into why is it that it's always difficult for Africa, is it because of the different coups that have taken place over the years in Africa that have weakened the police, or is it that the police are not getting sufficient training, or what is it that is making it difficult for police to be fully and squarely responsible for internal security in Africa? Because they are the ones that are meant to be responsible for internal security, while the military are meant to be doing military, fighting, restoration and all those things. So give us your view on that, sir.
Okay, Tammy, before I go on that, I just wanted to respond to Professor when he talks about Nigeria, another referendum. You don't need another referendum. Yeah. Nigeria's referendum was settled in 1999 when Abubakar handed over power and Obasanjo came into power. So if you start to bring more referendum, that's a recipe for dividing Nigeria. I think what they need to do is to respect the constitution of Nigeria as it is. It was a referendum, and to move on. And the other things he said, I agree with him, to agree that we are all the same. Not only Nigeria, all of West Africa, we are all interconnected. And by the way, he was saying some things about my Fulani people. I'm a Fulani, so let him be careful.
Fulani people.
Okay, I'm a Gambian Fulani. Now, coming to your question on African law enforcement, tell me, this is all because of lack of good governance, rule of law, and a constitutional government. You see, if you have a constitutional government where there's rule of law, where people abide by the rules, the police will work properly. It's an issue of institutions. But if you have a country where the president comes to power and tries to bring all his tribesmen, his relatives into the thing, it destroys the republicanness of the police force. I was very privileged to serve in the Gambia, in the First Republic, on the side of the Jawara, where there was proper democracy. He never interfered with the police. We do our job. Ministers come and we tell them, no, we're not going to do it. But that cannot happen in a country where the president is not a Democrat. If the president is a Democrat, the president adhering to constitutional norms and orders, then the police will be resilient. But if you have a president who's not respecting the rules and regulations of the Constitution, bring his people, his friends, etc., it corrupts the system. And not only the police, the army, the police, the civil service. I mean, I'll give you a typical example about Nigeria, about America. If Trump was in any African country, he would have locked up Biden. There will be no transfer of power. But there are institutions there, and the institutions were resilient. They've been tested to the maximum, and they made sure that what was supposed to be done was done. But in Africa, we, as Obama has said, we don't need big men, we need institutions. We need to develop our institutions. Yes. And there are African countries that their institutions are working. I'll give you a typical example in Senegal. They have crisis in 1968, in 1988. Serious crisis. But the army never got involved in coup d'etat. You know? And that's why they have change of government. There's never been a coup. Because when Abdou Diouf lost the elections, the general who was the interior minister told him, "You've lost the election. I want you to call the leader of the opposition and congratulate him." The president obfuscated but accepted afterwards. And since then they are having, and when Wada stayed there for 12 years, and also when he lost the election, the generals came to him and told him, "My friend, you've lost the election. Call the opposite, call the Macky Sall and tell him that you've lost." Because the institutions are working. Yes. So this is our problem. We need to rebuild our institution. If you have army commanders, police inspector generals, who are working in a system which is democratic, they will do their job. But once the president doesn't behave right, doesn't adhere to the Constitution, then that is a gangster country.
It is interesting that you said this, because I'm looking at the UK. If, as we are speaking right now, we're on national TV, and I say something like, "I will go to Mr. Ibrahima's house and go and burn his house because I don't like him," before I know, within 1 hour, the police will be knocking at my door. They don't need to call the prime minister and say,
within 10 minutes.
Within 10 minutes. You know, but yet in Nigeria, a gentleman said, "I'm going to get all the Fulanis out of a particular area, and I'm giving them 7 days notice." Nobody said anything until he went there. That's when the governor of the state, the people are starting moving. And the question is, why is it that the police can't do their work? Why do they have to look at the body language of the presidency? Why do they have to look at the body language of the governor of the state? Why is it that Africans, they do things completely differently? People will come on air and say all kinds of things that they are not. Even people that are working in government.
Yeah, but tell me, I'm telling you, there are good examples. I just gave you the example of Senegal, where the military or the police would not interfere. They have serious crises, but they would interfere because the institutions are working. And probably Ghana. Nigeria, the problem is the institutions are not working. It's a mafia system. Both Buhari's party and Obasanjo's party, I can't remember, NDP or NCP or whatever the parties are called.
PDP, APC, all of them.
PDP and APC, they're all mafias. They're all people who've stolen money. And Buhari might not be a corrupt person, but it's corrupt people who put him into power. So what do you expect? So
is it because you've just highlighted it, because we're talking of a situation where people will be in this party today, and then they will be in the other party next tomorrow, and then when they are facing corruption charges, they move to the ruling party and they will accept them with drums and everything.
Yeah. So this is the problem. So long as we don't build our institutions, we are doomed. Because if ECOWAS, I'm always worried about Nigeria, and many people tell me, "You're not in Nigeria." I say, no. Nigeria is very important for West Africa. If we had a strong democratic Nigeria with institutions running, the whole of West Africa will work, because they would have dominated ECOWAS, they would have made sure they would have got a good army, a good diplomacy. Any little country in West Africa, you don't behave, Nigeria will tell you, my friend, you have to behave. Just like what Germany is doing in the EU. But if Nigeria doesn't have to act together, how can you lecture or preach another person? How can you lecture the Togolese guy? So this is our problem. So I don't see the problem of Igbo, Yoruba, or Hausa. That's not important. We are all West Africans. We are all Africans. We can all live within the states we inherited from the British colonial masters. But we can develop and go further and create something like the European Union in ECOWAS, where it works. But that can only work if we have a base where everybody respects rule of law, human rights, good institutions, etc. But if you don't have that, it's a joke. All we have in Africa, we have people, strong men, people who come to power for the interest of their families and the mafia that brought them to power. So long as we have that, forget about it.
Let me ask you a question, because I know it's one of your areas of expertise, and I've had the privilege of going with you and sitting behind you, in the Council of Europe and watching you do what you do best: negotiation, talking at strategic level. Now, if you have an advice to ECOWAS, based on your experience from EU, what will be your advice to ECOWAS to make it a strong regional institution that could increase the prosperity of its people?
Yeah, but they need to have a strong commission. A commission that is not based on, okay, Nigeria, next year, Nigeria need to send somebody, Gambia need to send somebody, and they just send. Can I give you an example? The Gambia, during Jammeh's time, he sent a killer who was his vice president, Edward Singate. He's still living in Nigeria, a mixed race, who was a killer. And he was like number 2 in the ECOWAS. Africa is a joke. Somebody who has committed a coup d'etat. So we need to have a commission that have proper civil servants who will direct ECOWAS, that all the other countries in ECOWAS will adhere to the instruction of the commission, just like how you have the European Commission. The European Commission is very powerful. Whatever they do, Germany, France, Hungary, the smaller countries, they all abide by the rules. But in Africa, it's a joke. They just decide who's going to take this position because this country had it before. Next is Ghana, next is Gambia, next is Nigeria, next is this. It's a joke. It's just like what happened now in the African Union. One of the Gambian vice president was a candidate. I understand Buhari. Basically, Nigeria called all the ECOWAS members and said, you know what? Buhari wants our man to be the deputy AU, whatever, chairman. And all the other African countries just folded. Because obviously, Nigeria is the big boy. I mean, so how are we going to work with that? In the EU, Luxembourg is more important than Belgium, because if any big country wants to take a position, the other big country will not accept. So that is how Luxembourg and Belgium are very important. But look at what happened there in the ECOWAS summit. Buhari wanted his man to be the AU assistant chairman or deputy chairman. And all the other West African countries folded. Your foreign minister basically reading Riot. Our president wants this. And you have all agreed. What kind of ECOWAS do we have?
So it took his Nigeria politics into African Union. If you have any advice to a sitting government about tension management, because you've been in a civilian government and you saw how, of course, we know the coup d'etat is now becoming very rare in West Africa and Africa because, we're moving forward. But if you have any advice to a police chief about managing risk and managing tension, because tension is growing, what would be your advice to a sitting commissioner, inspector general of police about how to manage risk and how to ensure things are done properly?
Number one is to be Republican, to be loyal to the constitution of your country. And number two, whatever you do it transparently, irrespective of tribe or region or governor or anything. And if you do it, I tell you, there is God. You will survive it. I was an assistant inspector general. I believe in my principle. I'm talking to you. I still have been there. So any police officer who is in Gambia, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever you are, do your duty without fear or favor and be loyal to the constitution of the country. Even if they dismiss you, fine. God will protect you. You'll have another good job.
Yes.
But you
and
cannot
I think
you cannot have it both ways. You cannot be taking bribe on the left and say, I want to be doing constitution. The two don't go together.
It will not work. They have to respect the constitution, just like we have a situation. We have a situation in Nigeria, and I want to ask you your view because you're a senior officer. A single lady who was commissioned into the Nigerian police became pregnant as a result of being raped in the course of her work, and then by criminals. She was, and then they sacked her.
No, that's wrong. They should have
and people are saying because they said in the Nigeria, in the police constitution, a police book act, which was inherited from the British, they've just changed it recently.
1964 Police Act, we all have it, all of West Africa.
They said that a female constable cannot be pregnant in the job if she's not married. And because of that, she was relieved of her position.
No, but that's rubbish. That's bullshit. Sorry for my language. She was raped in the course of her duty. They should have protected her, given her a medal, compensated her. So that's rubbish. That's rubbish.
So if you were advising the Inspector General of Police, now you'll be saying, come on, this is not, you should not be allowing this to happen at your watch.
That lady should have been given a medal, protected, and even if necessary, remove the pregnancy because it was through rape. If it's too late, fine.
Yes.
But, these are basic things. You have to look after your men and women under you. But the problem is, in most of these African people, most of the police chiefs, they're just there to say, Oga, what do you want? And that's rubbish. And they will be consumed by Oga. If another Oga comes, they will sack them. So, you see, you do your job properly. If you do your job properly, if they sack you, they sack you. And God will be with you. I'm not very religious, you know that. I'm a liberal man. But there is karma. So, but all policemen, if you are there playing Mickey Mouse with the people in government and not adhering to the constitution, you will pay for it. And it will not only remain with you, it will follow your kids and your grandkids.
We have 7 minutes to go now, and I wanted to ask you this also important question. There is also something in the Nigerian constitution that says that a married woman cannot be enlisted into Nigerian police. Do you think that Nigerian police need to be more diversified? Do they need to start? They need to start thinking and start becoming more operating in a more 21st century format of policing?
Tell me, you got a law degree. There's international covenant.
Yes,
that is breach of human rights. Why would a married man be a policeman and a married woman cannot be a policewoman? That's a joke. That's against international covenants. United Nations covenants. I'm sure Nigeria has signed those covenants.
Yes, they have.
So these are jokes. These are jokes. I'm telling you, it's a mafia business. Let them adhere by the constitution. Even I'm quite sure in the Nigerian Constitution of 1999, I've read it, I have it somewhere. I'm quite sure there is a section which says that there should be no discrimination irrespective of race, sex, class, and blah, blah, blah. So that cannot happen.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you the most controversial question. I'm going to ask you, and I'm putting you on the spot. On this. Now, Nigeria is going through a serious challenge now, which is they call them the Fulani herdsmen. Most of them seems to have been coming from I don't think from Senegal, but from They are Fulani, Libya, Libya,
No,
and the
no.
others.
Stop it. Let
They
me
are
give you
entering into.
stop it. Let me give you the history. The Fulanis come
Okay.
from Guinea-Conakry, northern Senegal. My great-grandfather came from Nigeria, Usman Danfodio, from Tekro. And they came back to the Senegal River. So you have northern Ghana, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, northern Cameroon, they have the pole, northern Nigeria, and southern Niger. You have the Fulani. And they move around with their cattle, etc. So don't tell me about Nigeria. You see, this is where the colonialists have conditioned us. You know you have some Kanuris in northern Nigeria and in Niger. You have some Igbos in Nigeria, and the next one is it Benin? Benin Republic?
Okay. Cameroon, they are even in Cameroon also.
And also
and
in Benin
Yorubas
Republic. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not about Fulani. There is always a tension between the farmer and the cattle herder. And that could have been arranged if you have a serious government. If the institutions were working, they would have organized that during rainy season, you can graze here. If it's not rainy season, you cannot graze here. That could have been regulated by the governors. With all the money they're paying them, they could have sorted it out. The issue is not Fulani, this is not Igbo, it's not Yoruba, it's not Hausa. The issue is lack of institution and maladministration.
Wow, you've killed it. The challenge we have now in Nigeria is that these guys move around with AK-45 when all 9 Nigerians are not even allowed to carry a gun, and yet nothing could be done to them.
Yeah, but how can they carry AK-47? Before you talk about the Fulani, what about Boko Haram? Where is the Nigerian army? What is their use with all the money they gave them? I'm glad that Buhari sacked all the chiefs, and I hope the new chiefs will do something right. He should not even have given them ambassadorial position. He should have just sacked them and let them get their pension and keep quiet. Because they failed the Nigerian people.
You've heard it all, and that is Mr. Ebrima Chongan. He is the author of The Price of Chongan, The Price of Duty. And if you have not read any book for 2021, I will recommend you go on YouTube and get a copy of that book. If you need to buy that book and you can't find it, please come back to us. Our email address is just there at the bottom. That is going to be streaming, which is African Security Forum. Please come to us. We'll tell you where to get that book, because I'm telling you, when you read that book, you will not want to leave that book. And I'm going to bring him again very soon. But until we meet again, God bless you all. God bless Africa. Yes.
Just before you go, another thing which is sad about Africa, they have their African experts, like you, like many other people. Yes. And they bring British, bring American, etc. When you have your own nationals who have lived in the West, who have worked and understand the thing, why don't you bring your nationals to help you? You are working OECD, counter-terrorism. This is one of our biggest nemesis. It's only the Senegalese who are doing well on that, getting their diaspora to help them. Why don't you get your diaspora to help you? They have the skills, the knowledge, the experience, rather than paying millions to some other people.
It's interesting you said that, because we have over 1,000 Africans working in Metropolitan Police, not to talk of New York Police, not to talk of Canadian Police. And can you imagine if somebody...
I'm not even talking about the foot soldiers working in the Metropolitan. I'm talking about policy officials who understand the strategic
policies,
goals,
who understand policy writing.
Exactly. What can, how you can address these things. And they have the local buy-in, because they are from there. They know the local intricacies. Because in every country, you have the local sub intricacies, etc. A foreigner will not understand that. So we should stop this complex of having a white man to come to be able to solve our problem. Fucking hell, 6 years of independence. That's a shame.
Let me end with this. Do you know that if you want to get a contract in some part of Africa, just take a white cleaner with you to Nigeria or any of those countries and give him the PowerPoint to deliver. Once they see it, they are all very happy. And that's the problem we have. They need to start using us, just like you rightly said, start using Africans to deliver and resolve the African solution. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us. We're here on Monday, on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, on Saturdays, and again on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m., where we're going live in Bilingual. Thank you so much. Thank you. And please get a copy of his book, The Price of Duty, which is up there on YouTube. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless Africa.
Bye-bye.